And we're live! Hello and welcome to the 105th episode of Game Theory Gang. I'm Matty ALLin with Brisology and Tobiwan Hexobi. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
We got a great show for everybody tonight, so go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, share this out, post a comment, replay gang, whatever floats your boat. Or get out.
Get out.
Get out.
Don't let the door hit you in the butt. First
So
day.
what's going on, guys?
Could be fun. I just
You
got
finally
a shower.
converted me to ink. Finally.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I'm an
dude,
ink
Ink's-
maxi now.
Oh, wow. Whoa. That's okay, Maddie. Easy now. Measured steps, sir. Measured steps. Yeah, I mean, I think
Prince
Ink's
of
got-
Ink, Matty ALLin.
Ink is interesting for sure. I mean, I
don't
bags.
farm it. That's for suckers.
what?
I just buy it and hold it.
Idiots.
I saw you farm on stream, bro.
Oh yeah, like $2 worth.
well,
That was a good trade.
It was $150. Wasn't it
Yeah.
like 70 of one, 70 of another? I think in time you're gonna see good things.
Actually,
I think
I
you're gonna
have
be
some
glad.
pretty good news about ink.
Okay.
That's, I just found this out, I'm like, I didn't really just find it out, but I'm looking at the stuff, and what I'm basically seeing is that my farm, which I'm not adding or subtracting liquidity to, so it's staying the same. My farm, how much ink it's producing, is actually going down. It's actually going down a lot, like alarmingly a lot. And to me, basically what that means is that more farmers, more money is coming into the liquidity pools, and therefore everyone else is getting less and less ink. So in my opinion, I think the price of ink is going to shoot way up.
Are you measuring this in dollars or in ink?
And ink
Is your unit of account? Okay, well that's
actual units,
notable because of course the price of ink goes up and down, and so recently in the past week it's down from its local high.
yeah,
$10
no, but yeah, no,
or
I'm talking about because I know how much ink I produce per day.
Yeah, not in dollar. I think where you're losing them is like not in dollars, but how much ink you're getting per day.
Yeah, per
like,
day
for your
ink.
position.
Which is why, like, if you're just looking at the front end, you would say that because the front end is telling you in dollars and in ink, and a lot of people would just look at the dollar value. But yeah,
Right.
I totally get what you're saying, and I think it's good to point out the difference there with the unit of account being ink. That's telling you something about how much competition there is to be a liquidity provider and to earn ink.
Yeah.
So Brisology, he's, I guess, pointing out this speculation that you have about that as farming increases in popularity, then so too might the price of ink.
Yeah, so I believe it's gonna act kind of like how the Bitcoin halvening acts, where it's like all the miners are getting less Bitcoin, and all of a sudden the price of it just starts going up. They have to wait longer to get the same dollar amount if the dollar amount stays the same.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's tricky because it's like, your yield is in ink, which, I've noticed that in mine as well. It's like, and I tell people, it's like, stay away from a yield. But then we keep talking about it. So more people are farming. So, I mean, ultimately, it's a good thing for the community and for everybody. But, but yeah, your number of ink goes down, but the APY is shown is relative to dollars. Right. So it's like, so that's interesting, too, because it's like, oh, wait a minute. Like, for example, I was looking at the stable pairs a while back before our most recent pump. With ink, and it was like 98, 96%, something like that. And then we got that big ink pump, and then all of a sudden the APY was like 140. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, oh, because it's dollars. It's like the ink price went up. So, but what was interesting to me is like the APY didn't fall off as the ink price came back down. So I'm not sure exactly how that all worked, but if the multipliers changed, maybe if there was some tweaking, you think you would have heard about it if there were. But it was just odd to me that all of a sudden it's like ink jumps up by 50%, The APYs jump up by 50%. Ink retraces by 20%, but the APYs didn't pull back by 20%.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah.
Now,
I didn't know what to think of it.
well, I mean, one interpretation would be that basically one of the reasons why people buy ink is because they didn't get any from their sacrifice, and one of the ways that you earn the most ink is by pairing it with something that you already have, which is Pulse or PulseX, right? And so if you're new to farming, you have to buy your position in ink to provide that half of the trade. And so if more people are buying it and then they're throwing it in the liquidity pool. Now, I do have something to say about that, but first off, I heard a rumor on Twitter that the OA was like doing a little bit of ink mining, and I don't know if it's true. I didn't really care. All I needed was
why
the rumor.
wouldn't it?
It's on the blockchain. I mean, people could prove that if it was true. So I kind of discounted that because I never saw any blockchain evidence of it. But maybe.
Why wouldn't the OA farm for its own ink yield? Because I mean, well, you just got to think about it. And from my perspective, if I were, in control of the OA money, and I had maybe plans of one day letting to use ink as the governance token, maybe I'd want a large part of that pie.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've talked about on this show before, right? Like, you guys have brought up the issue of what if that's one of the reasons why people would be bullish on ink is if the OA doesn't own any, and maybe it will in the future, either by making it harder for non-OA people to mine it, and then that might make the price go up. We got ChrispyMan here, hexfire.io. Welcome.
Maddie.
Hello, guys. How are you?
What's up, Crispy? How's it going, bro?
How the hell are you?
Maddie, I just want to say the people that are like, oh, it's a pumpamental that the OA doesn't own any. Those are socialists and probably communists.
Me?
No.
You calling me names?
The people are like, oh,
maybe they're fascists. I don't know.
No, they're just like, oh, it's more spread out. It's it's even. It's fairly launched. Those are all commies.
You would rather a centralization of power.
Hell yeah.
You just have to say that. I just have to say that
a benevolent dictator is greater than a democracy.
If they stay benevolent, that's the tricky part.
That's the tricky part.
Right.
What do you got, Crispy?
I was going to make a joke, man. So I was just going to say ink stinks. So don't.
No.
Stay away from it, man. Stay away from it.
You're trying to keep it all for yourself.
Yeah. I'm still pretty bullish on it. Well, we've been talking about it for a year, almost a year.
Yeah.
And we've been farming it the whole time.
Here's my thought on ink in relation to the OA. What makes more sense to me, like if he starts mining it, that's fine. But it's the same logic that was utilized for him to go outside of his own system to do SDI, right? I mean, he's getting yield outside the system to bring back in, and he's not diluting his own users. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense for me in my head for him to mine it himself. What makes more sense is for him to inject capital into it periodically to incentivize other people to come farm because they see the ink price going up. So if he's taking yield from Ethereum that he's making, coming over, pumps ink, then ink gets more enticing to people. And there's two ways to get it. You can buy it or you can farm it. And then that's going to incentivize more farming from other people. So I think, it's going to incentivize the behaviors we want, which is more people providing liquidity on PulseX to do it that way. But
from my perspective, if the OA mines ink, I doubt that ink will probably ever see the market. So you can kind of look at it as a burn.
Yeah.
Like a buy and burn, right? Yeah.
I don't agree. I think the OA can sell at any time.
Well, sure, yeah, they can sell anything. I mean, the SAC
think
the
they
SAC
could.
daddy's got a big bag of EHEX. There's been
Yeah, I think-
speculation on Twitter about what he's going to do with that too.
Yeah, I mean,
No expectations.
The OA has a
Wow.
lot of other money they can sell before they start selling its own coins.
True.
I think one of the things that we're seeing, right? I'm sorry, I lost my voice.
Still hear you.
Man, it's been 2 weeks in Vegas. I still have this cold.
Mm.
And I'm doing everything right. I'm taking my 369,
Omega.
the right number of units. I put on deodorant for the stream, as Maddie suggested.
Beautiful.
That's good.
Yeah, here we are. What's really been playing out, I think, is that, and somebody else had said this, I forget, earlier today in one of the streams. Ink did go down to 50 cents, right?
Yeah.
And so people were selling it as the down only token. We did hear that a lot. And I'm not claiming victory or anything although I'm pretty happy that I kept my ink and farmed it. But if you remember how all this came about, is now for you to earn ink in the ink farm, the ink to pulse pair, ink to pulsex pair, you have to have ink. And that is that's one of the most lucrative ways to get more ink. And with less ink being distributed per participant, right, because there's more participants, it just creates a situation that Briz and Toby are talking about, how it's going to be very difficult for newcomers to accumulate as much as the early sharks and whales. And if they're supporting ink, then what direction is it going to go? It can only, they can go up and down, volatile, of course, but you would expect it to overperform PulseX.
Well, here's an interesting wrench to throw in that that I think is, if you're providing liquidity with ink, you could be experiencing impermanent loss. For me, I made a bigger yield farm with my ink and PulseX than I did on the show, right? So we did it on the show a couple weeks ago. Then I ventured into it more myself, you guys introduced me to the drugs and now I'm hooked, right? That kind of thing. Right. So I did a larger amount.
You're going to like it. Just try it.
It's not outperforming if I had just held both, which is interesting to me. That means that the market's going to find a balance, in my opinion, between how much it's basically, the way that I would describe it is sure, you can earn more ink if you want to put your ink at risk.
I want to see the numbers.
Yeah,
because I don't know. Have you put that through the impermanent loss calculator? We don't have to do that on stream. We have one in the community. We can pull it up, but yeah,
CoinGecko's got one that I use.
You put your start prices in and your initial volume, and then it'll tell you, what your impermanent loss will be. It should match your numbers, and then you would calculate the value of the ink that you received during that period of time to really truly match that up. I mean, I believe
I can tell you it's not even close. The amount of ink that I've earned has been maybe a 10th or a third of what I lost. If I'm valuing ink more than PulseX and ink is outperforming PulseX.
Right. Correct. But
I understand what you're meaning.
Yeah, but here's because I've witnessed it, and Crispy, I think you have too. But the thing that you got to consider, and this is how I look at it, is what you have in it is going to slosh back and forth, and then sometimes both things are going to go up, sometimes both things are going to go down, unless it's a stable pair. That's a different scenario. But your ink is constantly increasing, right? So in time, it's going to catch up with those oscillations, and I've watched this already shorter term. Like with my mom, it famously got in for 6+ figures recently, and I got her into some yield farming. And look at what the charts have done over the last 30 days. Not good, right? So the value of what's in her LP is down a fair amount. However, what she has earned in ink has it's actually just a little bit ahead of what the value is that's sitting in the LP.
You
so my
guys,
thinking is over time, the LP, as those increase, your ink's not going anywhere. You're just accumulating more. So as the prices increase and we finally reach a bottom and start to move, then you're well positioned.
You guys rode ink down where you were earning it.
Yep.
And now you're riding it back up, which is a completely different, experience, where if it ever comes back to where it was in terms of the ratios of the pair that you created, then you just got that round trip for free. Like all of your earnings didn't have to suffer impermanent loss. Like the impermanent loss went away. Which is, it's just interesting to me. And that's one of the reasons why I was looking forward to discussing it with you guys, is because, for me as a new entrant, I have to think more long-term, and also hope that, I say nice things about PulseX too, so that both of my bags pump.
I mean, the way I look at LP, and we've talked about this before, is for farming, is it's a longer term game. Like, I mean, you got to be in it. It's not something you want to jump in and out of. I mean, there's opportunity to do that if you want to play that game. But to me, I feel like it's more of a long-term game. And, I always went into it knowing I was going to be in. Like when I started, I knew I was in for at least 2 years, because I figured that was going to be around the time that the bull market was over, and then I would reassess. So I started farming pretty early on after Pulse launched, and that's still where I'm at with it. I got a year or so to go, and then I'll reassess when the bull market's kind of shot its shot.
I got a question for you guys. Maybe Maddie can frame it up the way you normally do. If I had a choice right now to take a certain value and put it into the farms, or put it into a hex stake or a ladder, I personally would go towards the hex ladder. And even though I'm experiencing a good experience with ink, the reason I got into ink is because I had Pulse and I had PulseX, and I didn't want to take the I didn't want to do the transactions after we had prices to move out of this position. So I needed to put them to work. But that being said, as I've done this, I've concluded the most beneficial path for me is to have a hex ladder, where I don't have to worry about the impermanent loss. Then that's my viewpoint, right?
Okay.
Right.
That's a good, that's a really good point, that there's a different risk profile there. And that's one of the things that I wanted to point out that could get really interesting here in this bull market, is the fact that everybody who's yield farming ink, which is like a large percentage of ink holders, your ink is for sale. Somebody could come in and snatch your ink from you, right? And you are being rewarded for that risk, that one way outperforms the other. And luckily, Pulse and PulseX and ink, I think they're all great. They're all different from each other. Brisology, do you have a comment?
Yeah, so the way that I'm particularly farming is that I'm just farming with PLS and a stablecoin, and I'm actually kind of using it as like, hey, I wanted to experiment with this being my exit strategy. Also, I only put in enough PLS that I was completely comfortable with losing. I have I have a bunch of PLS still in my bag that's not being farmed at all, because I want to see this thing. I want to hold this thing for years to come. I want to be that 10-year veteran when people are like, oh man, you heard about Pulse Chain in 21? That's crazy. So I'm more than happy, if all of the PLS that I'm farming with kind of goes away, and then I plan on just keeping this farm running and just kind of being that passive income generator using ink.
So can I add to that? Because I basically have round tripped right at this point. In that it's not quite that, but when we started, you guys may remember I told you went into the farms. When I talk about doing stuff, it's always small dollars. I'm not one of these like $100,000 guys dropping $100,000 and die in there. But I put an amount of pulse. I took a certain amount of pulse. I said, okay, I'd want to earmark this maybe for profit taking. And I didn't have any ink right at the time, right? So I was just getting started. So I took that pulse, and I didn't have any stables. I took that pulse. I took half of it. I bought the stable, right? And I did that at the beginning. And now we went all the way down, blah blah blah, and now we're back up. And so now I'm at the point that I have this pretty decent little bag, right, of stable versus pulse, just like Riz is talking about. And now I'm moving on to a new stage. I earned ink the whole time, right? But I can tell you, I don't feel bad about the position I have. It looks pretty good, and I'm happy to have Pulse or Pulse X or whatever I'm doing. In this case, it's just Pulse. But I'm happy to have more Pulse if that was the case, right? And I did get tons more Pulse right when we went down versus the dollar, right? But then it came back up, and so now I'm on to a new leg of this market where I'm looking forward, and I have to decide, do I keep that position? And much like Briz in what he was saying, I am going to leave my position in. I know I've done the calculations, right? I'm talking about on the stable pair. I know that I'm going to suffer a lot of impermanent loss if we completely moon on Pulse. But this isn't my only Pulse. I didn't put all my Pulse into this. And so I'm looking. So yeah, I don't know about everybody else. I'm doing a lot of research, trying to figure out stuff. It is not, I know we say just do LP and it's easy to get out. Man, it is not easy to get out with LP. Maybe somebody else will comment on that. It's timing. You got to wait. You don't have the ability just to push a button. And if you get antsy about it, you do a market sell anyways, right? And so if you're using an LP strategy, it's over a pretty long period of time. And at least for me, that seems like that's the way to do it, which means you have to have even a bigger bag of LP to do that. In any case, my point is this, is I'm going to let that run. I'm going to let it run to the top of the market, and I'll decide what I'm going to do then with it. And perhaps what I'll do is I'll pull that LP and I'll rest for a period of time, and then I'll come back and I'll drop it back in to acquire more ink on the way down.
But also, real quick, I'd like to add on one last point, and then I'll give it to Toby. You're
He's
muted.
on mute. He doesn't know.
Yeah, you got muted. But I just want to say I don't farm with my ink coin. I just do just the PLS and the stable coin, because I did put in a bunch of ink coin around $3, and from like $3 to $5 I lost like 10% real quick.
Wow.
I mean, it got turned into the other coin. It got turned into PLSX. But I decided I did not earn 10% in that very short time period. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna hold on to this, and then I'm not sure if I bought back my ink or if I just left it. I think I just left it in the PLSX. But
the market chose.
The market chose for me. But Toby won.
Yeah. Well, the thing I was going to point out is like, this is all, we're looking at a moment in time, right? So obviously things are different if you got in at the very beginning of the farms, if that's the only time that you entered and you just have been sitting there since then. If you've been recycling, that's another element. Like if you're earning ink and maybe you're like me, you're validating. So like I'm taking my ink and my pulse and I'm putting that back into the farms. That changes the dynamic. If you started off when we were at the lows, that changes how all this works too. But over time, if you zoom out, I think the thing that was popping into my head when Crispy was talking was we're at what, almost $7 for ink right now. All-time high was what, $80? So we are about a 10x away. Do you think that Pulse or Pulse X will do a 10x from here?
Yeah, but can we get it faster? Come on, let's go.
Of course. Well, whatever. I'm patient. I'm a delayed gratification guy. That's how that's why I've been in Hex so long. But it's like, and that's why I continue to add to my ladders. Or ladder, I should say. I'm not adding anything else to my EX ladder. That's different. That's a different conversation. So here's the kicker though. A 10x on Pulse right now is only 20116, right? So it's like,
What's
if
the
people
question?
think that it's a 10x right now on the Pulse price, just knocks a zero off, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So it's like, if you think that that's all we're going with Pulse, you might find yourself in a situation where you end up with more ink than you want to end up with. Because I think Pulse and Pulse X, as they get going, could outpace it. And then you're going to be in the other situation. Because like what Briz was saying, I've got some of those farms like you do, Maddie. And I watched I watched a big bag of ink become a much less big bag of ink, because I was losing it as ink was going up in proportion to Pulse and Pulse X. But I'm confident over time that, Pulse and Pulse X are going to catch up to it. Ink will cool off because people want to rotate into those things as narratives change and maybe new additions happen with Pulse X, what have you. But all the while, I'm earning ink. So to me, it just seems like such a no-brainer. And then like I got one other thing to add for something that I came up with just because I happen to have a bag of P-Hex, Hex on Pulse Chain, whatever, sitting there from a larger stake that had ended recently. And I was like, okay, I can restake this, but I've already got a healthy staking ladder. And I really, really, really hate the idea of selling Hex. It's like I just, I have done some trading between E-Hex and P-Hex. I've done, back in the adoption amplifier days, I did some ARBs, with the ETH valid or the AA and whatnot. But as far as just straight up selling Hex, that's a hard one for me. But I looked at the Hex on Pulse Chain and Pulse yield farm, and it's earning like 45, 50%. And I thought, hey, I'm going to earn more there than staking this out, even max length. And I can pull it anytime I want. And worst case scenario, because so basically the bag I had, I sold. So I sold some Hex. So
I'm so disappointed.
For Pulse. So I sold Hex for Pulse, and then I paired them together, and now I'm earning ink on that. And then my thinking is the worst case scenario is if Pulse moons and Hex on Pulse Chain does nothing, I just end up with more P-Hex. Well, that's what I started off with. So it's like, to me, I feel like it's the biggest no-brainer I've ever had to make that move. So I'm not financial advice. I'm not suggesting other people do that, but I have yet to come up with a thing in my head that says that wasn't the way to play that.
You can't think of one reason.
I can't. I mean, unless somehow Hex on Pulse Chain outpaces everything, and then I lose that bag entirely and end up with a bunch of Pulse that does dog shit. I don't think that's how that's going to play out. I think Pulse is going to do at least as well as Hex this cycle, and quite frankly, I think it could do a lot better than Hex this cycle.
I'm gonna argue with you on that based on
Sure.
a point that Richard made, but first I want to show you guys. Somebody's asking like, how much do you have to put in to be able to earn one ink? And Brisology said how much per day if you're earning one ink, but I am earning one ink in like 3 weeks using $150.
Well, use the calculator and you can do it on screen. It's that little
it's right here. I've got it's been 2 weeks and I've got 0.75 ink.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Nice.
So, another 5 days or so, and there we go.
Yep. Or you can actually just do it.
You can
hit the little you can use that little calculator button next to the APR percentage and type in the dollar amount and figure out like, okay, if you put in, according to your logic, it's taking you 3 weeks to earn one. So that's what 0.2 a day or 0.15 a day, something like that. I can't do math in my head today. But yeah, just throw in like $1,000 and see what how much ink that earns you a day, like in that little calculator deal.
I didn't do $1,000. I did.
I know, but if the question was how much do you have to put into the farm?
Brisology already answered it. Yeah.
You don't want to push that button, do you?
Thank you.
$4,500.
Thanks, Briz. I know, right?
$4,500.
Jesus Christ.
$4,500,
and you'll earn an ink a day, right? So that's 30 ink a month.
But you can get started with 150.
But that's in which farm? Which farm was that, Briz?
The same farm.
Same farm. Okay, gotcha. So it's about 3 times the APY on the stable farms. So you'd be earning it 3 times as fast. or
Yeah,
again,
but then
you put in his third. It's
so
much.
so to me, Richard put out a tweet, maybe it was about a week ago, and it really got me thinking because he was talking a lot about liquidity. He was talking about liquidity between the different RH pairs. And, you know, maybe he was suggesting that Hart's law is like something you have to pay attention to, right?
What?
And the reason I care about that is because Hart's law helps to define like how prices move, right? So that really got me thinking, and I kind of got tripped up in an explanation I did on my Thursday show because I was trying to explain that like ink can outperform other things. We don't know if it will, but it can. But it also has like higher liquidity than anything else. And that started to boggle my mind. So I lay it at your guys' feet. What's up with that?
I just also real quick before we get on to that point, I just also want to point out that is $4,500 today will earn you 1 ink a day. Just a couple days ago, it was less money earning that much ink. So the cost of earning that is going up.
Well, it's kind of like
it's kind of like
validators. Same. We saw the same situation with validators early on. You know, you were making way more.
Yeah.
Than you are now, just as more validators came into the system. But ultimately, for the health of the system, both things are good. So I'm happy to sacrifice some of my yield to you guys. If you
don't seem happy.
Well, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'll be okay with it. But in answer to your question, Maddie, first I need you to restate it.
Okay, like
you said something about liquidity.
Usually, if you have lower liquidity, it's easier to pump. But like with ink, it has more liquidity than any of the other pairs. So how is that outperforming the other pairs?
That's a good question, man. I mean, I think that people.
You know how much liquidity we got in ink? And do you know
an incredible
why
amount.
The number one meme coin on Pulse Chain?
Right.
It's like 80% of the supply.
$55 million in liquidity.
65 mil?
55.
55? Okay, and what's the market cap? I'm looking.
It's actually
187 million.
Yeah, it's like close to 200 almost.
So 55 divided by 187.
So that's actually a pretty incredible number.
A third of all the tokens are for sale, but you have to have Pulse or Pulse X.
I thought that was a pretty powerful metric that it has close to 30% of its market cap in liquidity.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that means there's like plenty of money to get in and out of this thing. And normally I would be agreeing with you that, that means it'd be pretty hard to pump it up. But I don't know.
Well, we'll think of it this way, though, Chris.
Of tokenomics.
Just because it's for sale on the market, quote unquote, in the farms, doesn't mean people are selling it, right? Quote unquote, selling it. Yeah. They're currently, right? This is why it's, I in my mind, right? This is why it's leverage on Pulse, because people can get such a high payout or a high reward for it. They're buying more than people are selling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what allows it to go. Maybe you feel like it's a magic trick, but that's why it's able to outperform.
I did notice that metric too. There are more buyers than sellers of ink, and typically in almost every coin, there's more sellers than buyers.
And this will reverse at some point, which is why you probably, I don't know what the numbers will be, but I mean, you probably could expect that ink will probably do a round trip type thing after this cycle. Right? There's lots of talk about that. Lots of talk. People saying, "Hey, when we get up, because everybody's going to call the top. Yeah, everybody's a fucking brainiac." But anyways, everybody's going to call the top and sell on the day, and you're going to see it start to come down, and that will be the time to be watching. Because for those who want to accumulate ink for the next cycle, I mean, some of us might ride it all the way down. I may ride it all the way down from the top because I just want to continue to accumulate ink.
Right. Similar logic to staking Hex. I want more T shares. Right. It's the same logic in my opinion on this. something else to consider is that, as I hate to say it, if you're on Twitter for any length of time at all, and I do a pretty good job of curating my feed so I don't have a bunch of nonsense. And even still, what do we see more than ever on Twitter? Not just in the Hex community, but across the board, memes. Memes are like the news of the day, right? The next new meme, and people are chasing all this stuff and the shiny objects. It's like it's reached critical mass. It seems like memes are just off the charts. And what do we have in ink? But like a coin that actually has an opportunity to not be a pump and dump, right? So for all those meme players out there, I think that there's a fair amount of them that maybe take a little bit of their meme money and are like, hey, if I like this whole meme logic, ink's probably a pretty good one to get into.
So for it to be a meme token, it has to make you laugh.
Hey, when I see more dollar signs in my portfolio, that makes me laugh. Sorry, I don't mean to be like the evil, like, wow, more money.
Oh,
but
that's fine.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a narrative that's been put out, which is great. Let's save the meme people with actual utility. This ink outperforming, it's not something many people were predicting, right? Because it started so high. On testnet, it was $1,000. It started super high. There was unusual whale activity, and but then you can't fight the market, and the market, with its inflation, explosive inflation from zero. Of course, you had a lot of buy pressure at the beginning because of all the reasons people talk about ink now, like, oh, there was no sacrifice for it. The OA doesn't own any coins. Dump 'em. Rochelle doesn't own any. Like all these things.
There are all these number of coins.
These great points. Yeah. But it's really surprising to me though that the thing with the highest inflation is outperforming the things that are disinflationary and deflationary in terms of Pulse and PulseX are being outperformed by ink. So it's a really interesting turn of events. How is it that something so inflationary can be doing so well?
It just seemed like, I'm going to tell you the truth. Like I was like, I was farming it, and I'm just farming it, just kind of collecting the coins, and then all of a sudden it started pumping up, and it really kind of felt like out of the woodwork. Like everyone started liking ink like really quickly, and I felt like it was okay to start promoting it, because before I'm like, hey guys, I think
we don't promote things, we report on them.
Exactly. Well, I just mean like on my Twitter feed. I was just like, ink, it looks kind of interesting at these prices.
So were you a closet inkaholic at first, and then you were able to come out?
I was a little ashamed of how much I liked it.
Were you worried that it didn't like you as much as you liked it?
I was worried about my friends catching me hanging out with it, and having to explain to them, oh no, it has a great personality. But
Toby's muted.
Oh, I had a good one. Like a walk of shame, right? From the farm. Farm at night. It's like, oh man. hope my buddies don't see me walking home from that farm.
All right.
But now it all changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, now
the farmer's daughter was hot after all.
Now people have thought about it more, and they're just like, hey, this actually makes a lot of sense. And I don't know. I think it can do really big things in the future. So
there's like other advantages that people say around the ink narrative is the SEC didn't mention it.
True. That's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah. It's under the radar.
So some people like it for that reason. And then the other thing, I guess, that people could say about it is that it has a different form of unit bias than the other coins. Like, you want to bring a coin home to mom and dad, maybe it being $1 or more than $1, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, with the number of coins in existence, there's going to be less than 32 million in the first year. Those are Bitcoin numbers. So I feel like we could see, a multi-$100 ink in the future, and possibly even more than 1,000. So, I mean, just because
1,000.
of the low
You
number of
dopamine
coins.
dealer.
I know, I'm a hype
What-
dealer.
What did
No,
it get to on
in the
testnet? Didn't it get
cards.
to like $14,000 or something on testnet?
It got really high.
It got really high.
So Brisology, what do you see as like what gets it to 100? What gets ink to $100?
More farmers. I think more farmers. The more money we have in those farms, I believe the higher the price will go. And like I said, I've been noticing my yield coming down, which means more money is going into the farms. And I think, I've been watching Crypto Coffee. He's been doing some really great walkthroughs on his videos lately. So I bet
Nice.
you he's bringing in a lot of money into the farms. What's her name? A Wild SJ. She's been doing great videos, and I think she's helping walk people in there. And I'm gonna try and make my own walkthrough video. Try and get
Oh, nice.
here's how you get from Coinbase to the farms and everything in between. Just as like I think we should all probably make one more onboarding video just to get that information out there. I know the information's already out there, but I think if everyone made just one good video, we can spread the adoption even more. So that's
Biz with Briz.
bow, bow,
That's right.
bow, bow. So yeah, so expect a short little video from me fairly soon. I was getting stuff prepped earlier, and then so who knows, maybe within a week, I hope.
Right on. 2 more weeks. Got it.
2 more weeks.
But yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I just see nothing but blue skies in front of us. We got the SAC money doing crazy things with Ethereum. That just, to me, I don't know why, it's just super bullish. And I'm seeing our ecosystem is rising slowly. It might not be rising as fast as everyone had wished, but it's going up. We're above SAC price on PLS, and I think we were above SAC price on Pulse X for a short minute.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I concur with you that I see good things in the future. I mean, I think that I have to remind myself, and maybe some other people need to remind themselves, to be adults and stick with their convictions. They had ideas and plans. And yeah, of course, you change your worldview when things change, but nothing substantial's changed yet. And so there's a lot of willy-nilliness, right? People moving back and forth. I'm getting out of this. I'm going into this. Running back and forth. Burning their little bit of paper money, chasing all this stuff. And I think take a breath. Take a breath.
It's hard.
It is. I have the challenge too, man. I'm dealing with it. I got the FOMO. I got the FUD.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Something I want to add, I don't think he's a fudster, honestly. Sami, right? Sami was a big topic last week. I think that
I love him again.
It's like I think Sami's net positive. Okay, I personally
love him.
And my deal is that he's reporting on the news with his own unique perspective of how he sees things as they're happening now. Does he make some forwards facing comments or whatever? Sure. However, does he have some takes on things that I think are not well informed as far as the OA and other things? Yeah. But ultimately, I think that he got wrong or focused maybe a little too much on us lagging behind the altcoin season, that whole narrative.
It's all over, man. It's all over.
Right,
we're so far behind. It's never coming back.
Well,
We need to completely change what we're doing on Pulse Chain. We need to become Memecoin Center. We should rename it Soul.
But he's verbalizing. But the thing is like he's verbalizing what a lot of people's like inner voices are saying. Right?
Yeah,
it's like,
I agree.
And a lot of people are retarded.
In a funny way. And a lot of people are retarded. And here's the deal. And I've said this on threads of this before. If people are using anybody
I'm gonna come
that they
to
see on YouTube, if they see anybody on YouTube or Twitter and they're using that in place of their due diligence and what they do and don't do with their
crypto investing, the highest of stakes to me.
They're idiots. I'm just telling you. It's like, then you deserve to be wrecked. If that is the extent of your due diligence, then I'm sorry, you're gambling, right? So
take your $5 back.
But I think he missed the call. I think he focused a little too hard on the narrative of like the altcoin season, being in full swing, blah, blah, blah. But if you've watched him carefully, he's pivoted on that. And he's acknowledged that what happens is the cycle. I'm like on my other screen right now, I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart and the fractal from the previous bull run and how we are dead nuts in the middle of it still. We're doing almost exactly what it did on the first run up to its peak in 2021. And we had a pullback about 20%, and we're coming back up toward the top of the range. And if this all plays out, then what's going to happen is Bitcoin's going to round over after the halving. And around that time is when people start to pull profits that they've made in this Bitcoin run and start going into alts. Will that include us on this second alt season? If we're going to take Sami's word as fact that we already had an alt season, time will tell. But I'm just telling people, brace, because if we are going to do what we've done in the past with the Bitcoin halvenings, we're going to top out about a month or so after the halvening. We're going to pull back. We've usually pulled back almost 40% on Bitcoin. And so, as goes Bitcoin, so goes everything else. And then things, as they're bottoming out for Bitcoin, that's when the alt season will start, in my opinion.
I think Sami made 2,200 videos in a bear market and inspired people to buy. So that's really cool.
Yep.
And I think he works 18 hours a day to pump our bags.
I think
that's really cool. What?
I think it's 19 hours.
Yeah, he's modest. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, he puts in more than 24 hours of work in 24 hours. Yeah. So I heard him correct himself on the OA stuff. He changed his tone of voice with the OA really is a sacrifice. So that's cool. He addressed our concern from last week of that he didn't say what his goal was. So, I mean, yeah, you couldn't ask for any more. And somebody who's doing their own thing and giving their own opinion and being contrarian and just having a pulse on the market, on the, on the sentiment and the chart, just basically all aspects of the market Sami's covering. And yeah, so I thought it was cool. I saw him go into a other community, an Ethereum community, and he was just so well spoken on Twitter Spaces in this super prestigious Memecoin community. Yeah, they were just they were loving him, and he didn't shill anything from our ecosystem. But guess what happens when they go to listen to his YouTube channel because they liked what he was saying about their meme coin? They're going to hear about Pulse Chain a lot.
But no one watches his old videos, and all of his new videos are just him talking trash.
About who? About what?
Pulse Chain and Hex.
Yeah, okay. I have a theory on this. This is Game Theory Gang, right?
Theory.
I have a theory. I think Sami is part of the shakeout. I think he believes in the shakeout, and I think he's shaking too. He's
perhaps.
He's
I can see that.
intensifying the
You know,
shakeout.
I actually, I had the same thought because I was like, you know, when I talk really loudly about EHEX and PHEX on Twitter, it gets people really upset, and I really see people digging their heels deeper into like the opposite side of me. I'm like, I wonder if that's ethically moral to like poke people a little bit into that. And I was kind of thinking about it, and then I really wasn't trying to do that with Gold Key and Dip Catcher, but I kind of feel a little bit responsible for shaking them out into Solana.
Well, if you
They
could
shook
stop
themselves out.
causing some of our best devs to like flee, that would be really awesome.
Oh, give me a break. Come on now. I don't think that's fair.
I
That
Yeah,
goes
I
for
don't
you
think-
too,
I don't think-
Tobiwan.
Hey,
Stop
hey,
chasing
no.
away the devs.
Give
Damn
me a
it.
break. Bro,
I
did you not see his? I'm going to share it with you in private chat. It's like,
We don't
here's the
need to
deal.
get into all of it.
Okay, I'm just saying, here's the deal. It's like there are those that, and I think that their narrative changed, not to talk shit at all. This is just my take on it. I like them personally.
It sounds like you're about to
hope-
talk shit.
Maybe a little bit, but it's like they, I really have I have no problem with them personally. I just am commenting on what I witnessed. What I witnessed was that they had an altruistic product in Maximus, and after that, things gradually started to change. And I think that that's the nature
Freedom
of
of
money.
speech.
That's the freedom of speech, but it's also the nature of paper gains, right? It will change
Interesting.
people. It will change people. And if they see in a bear market, especially a prolonged one, other opportunities with their skill set to make money for themselves, because why else I mean, come on. All of us are here to make money, but we're, and also some of us have conviction about the RH philosophies, some more than others. My thing is that I saw a slow pivot for them to be focused more on the money and chasing the money, kind of like chasing green candles, whether it's meme coins, gophers, Solana move, you name it, the perpetual staking with the team token, all that other stuff. It's like all of those were steps toward them doing what they thought was best for themselves and for their sub community. And that's okay. That's fine. But don't put that under the umbrella of I'm bringing adoption to Pulse Chain. That's where it feels disingenuous. And that's where I'm like, nah.
I really like this point that you're making too, because it's like, yeah, on one hand, you could ask yourself, what does it cost to have great developers delivering great things to the market, things that work, things that, blockchain's hard, crypto's hard, but the market is assigning value to that. Now, where things went different was when Richard Hart came in to crypto and pulled out his giant hex code and, basically said, here's a finished product. Right. So, I mean, that's, in my opinion, like all you've seen from the OA is basically just buying and not selling. So where's the value extraction? That's different. Pretty much every crypto has a founder who's selling their coins. Vitalik, maybe not Satoshi, but he pre-mined at least. I'm not going to give him too hard of a time for that though. But yeah, I mean, there's always a grift in crypto so that the devs can get paid, but the power is like so skewed to the point of like, yeah, incentivizing financial tomfoolery. Right. So it's really interesting to like take the example of people who are building and like they're not doing it for free. And it's like, well, that seems normal in one sense, but at the same time, it's not everything it could be, as evidenced by Hex.
Well, and Johnny touched on it last week. It's like, you want the price of Hex to pump? Buy Hex. The whole narrative for a long, long time of, hey, here are these things that are going to bring people in. Were they net positive? I mean, I don't know. I haven't quantified that. I mean, there's people that could probably, but were they net positive, or was it a diffusion of capital in lean times?
The market
and
chose.
onboarding energy and
Market's
onboarding
deciding.
energy. The market did decide. The market did decide. So it is, we're where we're at. People hit the buy button on other stuff, for their own reasons, and we can't roll back the clock. But with that all being said, the hex code works exactly as designed, and it's still cranking along. I think there's tremendous upside for Pulse and PulseX in this bull market. And I think that's going to drag everything up with it. And then as people make profits, I'm going to go back to the old tried and true Tobiwan talking point of Hex being the best store of value in crypto. I still believe that to be true. And as people make profits, they're going to look for places to store that value. Do you want to store it in Bitcoin and ride out another 3-year bear market and earn nothing for holding your Bitcoin? Or do you want to rotate into Hex or eHex and let that yield from your staking ladder help DCA you in through the bear and have more coming into the next bull? Your decision. Do the math.
Can I just go back to the one metric I kind of learned recently when looking at the like DEX screener? Check
Please.
out the number of buys in a 24-hour period. Or I'm sorry, the volume of buys. So like recently with Ink, I think it was like 1.5 million or something
On which pair?
in 24 hours.
Ink
It was
Pulse?
just
Ink
Ink,
PLS.
just Ink by itself. Did
Does
I
Dex
say
Screener
pairs?
do that?
I'm
Or were
sorry.
you watching it on GoPulse?
I'm sorry. Let me rewind that. I was looking at Ink on Dex Screener, and then I was looking at the number of the volume of buys in 24 hours, and it was like $1.5 million in the last 24 hours. And then it tells you the number of buyers. And so if you divide that, you kind of get an average price of how much each buy was. And
What did you find?
Ink, it was like $2,500 per buy, which is pretty crazy. And I was doing it along the other like meme coins, and most of those were like $50, $60. I think the
No
Gophers
joke.
were like the average was like $114 per buy. But with the Ink, it was on average $2,500 per buy. And I just thought that was a very interesting metric.
Yeah, people are getting in with size. What is that? That's what, a 50x bigger average clip size?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, number one meme coin on the Pulse chain. Sorry, everybody else. Sorry, oranges.
I think.
Oh wow!
Sorry, teddy bears.
I think Ink
Sorry,
needs a little
Dick
more
Ducks.
work for me to classify it really as a meme coin. Like,
I think it's a meme coin play. I think
I-
is what you could consider.
I
it.
like to call it a meme coin just simply because it irritates other people.
Well, no shit.
There you go.
Briz. That's
All
pretty
right.
obvious.
now I get it. Now I'm in on the joke.
Briz is poking the.
It's not a meme
orange
coin.
bear.
It's a rewards coin.
Are there any places where I can find Ink merch?
Oh, I'm sure Hexo the Mark.
Yeah, it's on
Marco the
Amazon.
Hexican's making it. He'll sell anything. But yeah, I don't know if he's got Ink merch or not. I know Hex Toys has the Ink pins. I'm not sure if there's other. It'd be cool to see if it's on Etsy or somewhere, because I know that early days of Hex, that's where a lot of the Hex merch popped up first. It was on Etsy. But I would rock an Ink t-shirt. Hey, Magruder, send me an Ink hat, bro. So.
Me too.
Yeah, Ink would be cool. I would like an Ink hat. I don't have an Ink hat. I think I've got a
Don't,
pulse.
There's
don't
no-
send me one.
there-
Don't send me one.
Whoa.
Collection.
There we go.
I got my Pulse X hat. I got that one.
Nice.
The dad hat.
That's a cool one.
I just have my genius hat.
Hey,
Count
nice. Dude, okay. Oh, we want to go like
There you go.
That's old school.
Old school. That's old school.
Oh, yeah.
Hex Space
So and
Force.
then I got a pulse chain.
This
Dad
has just
hat.
turned into show and tell now.
The hat shit.
Why
I
is
know,
your
dude.
hat-
I'm stoked about my hats. But
Oh,
Brown, yours is
Brisology.
awesome.
So clean.
His is
Oh
game worn.
wow, dude. I didn't
This
wear mine
has
a
like
lot.
been worn to work, baby.
Dude, yeah, it sure has. That is well worn. But I need an ink hat, Magruder. Send me an ink hat, bro. Dad hat style. You know how I roll. So, but yeah, I don't know. It'd be cool to find out though. If people know, throw it in the chat. I would totally rock some ink merch.
Hey, would you like to hear an adventure I went on this week?
No.
Absolutely.
Where can we get ink merch? Just kidding. Just
Want
kidding.
to spend our money on ink merch?
Please tell us, Chris.
Please, Crispy, please.
Verse. Hey, ongoing
Make us beg.
P-Dye saga. Right. So I
This is
engaged. I dug up all my stats and I engaged ChatGPT.
Okay.
4.
Okay.
Because I paid for it, and to talk about MakerDAO and Ethereum, and according to my discussion with ChatGPT, it's in the realm of possibility that the Maker contract gets collateralized on the Pulse chain, and that P-Dye could actually peg. But it acknowledges there's some risks there, right? So there's some challenges, both regulatory and, of course, contract and people. It's a very complex methodology. But in the background, we continue to see P-Dye LP being burned. We continue to see performance in the up and to the right direction. So the closer we get to $1 or over this period of time, the more convinced I am that it's a higher possibility. I think it's probably greater than 75% chance it goes to $1. That's what I think. Yeah, I think no reason it can't go to $1. Why couldn't it? Other cryptos go up, and with a lot fewer people.
Because a bunch of insiders hold it and they would dump it before it got there.
Maybe, but maybe their target's 5. I don't know. But it's interesting to watch. I think it's a chance. Like I said, 75% chance maybe in my head that it gets up to $1 or higher. Whether it pegs or not, I don't know what that percentage is. But anyways, it was cool to kind of talk that through with, of course, ChatGPT isn't the expert on everything, right? And so who knows if it's even right. But just kind of talking through all the ramifications of that. And I posted that up in the in one of the chats for you to see, Maddie. But just going back and forth, just asking it, hey, what do you think about this? And how could this happen? And why would it do this? And so it's been, it was quite a little experience.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Where did you post about it?
I have it over in the chat that I shared with you. But
I haven't really thought about
on Telegram.
Yeah, on Telegram.
I haven't really thought about P-Dye that much lately, but I can just imagine all those guys are kind of like probably angry with like all the other meme coins flourishing right now.
They've held pretty steady, all things considered. Where all the rest of them just seem like pump and dumps.
Well, you can't really compare P-Dye to a meme coin. I mean, I guess you could, but I mean, it's not a meme coin in that way.
I'm just saying, like, I'm sure like all the P-Dye guys are like, man, if all of that money would flow into P-Dye instead, we could be at $1 already.
Oh, there's plenty of money flowing that every day, man. There's a lot of action there, and there's a pretty big sub community of 3,000-4,000 people. It's nothing to sneeze at. Now, I get that there's a lot of questions about what the reality is. Maddie's mentioning, hey, maybe there's a bunch of insiders that are going to dump on everybody at some point. I don't know, but I can look at the past performance and see that it's been going up and to the right, over this period of time. And so yeah, and I think one of the things that kind of matches up with this, proof of benevolence is that there's $10 million worth of P-Dye burned into LP. And burning into LP doesn't mean that the it doesn't mean the tokens are burned, but there's an Atropa PDI pair out there with $20 million worth of tokens at the current price that can never be removed, right? All it can be is accessed. And what that begins to do is thicken the liquidity further and further over time. So I find that quite fascinating. And I, for one, will be looking for it. I'll see what happens, I'll see what happens.
I got my free bags. My little degen plays early on. They'll be watching. I'll be watching.
Yeah, I mean, like,
1200X, so yeah.
I just saw that Sami responded already because he's an AI and everything.
He's everywhere.
So
I
because
missed
I'm the Sami advocate tonight, I'm gonna tell Brisology and Tobiwan.
I'm a Sami advocate.
You guys are the worst flavor of ice cream, salty.
Ooh, actually,
Your bag holding,
salty ice cream's
my
pretty good.
elbows are so pointy.
you're 100% down
Actually.
in Hex. Your bag holding, you're angry, right? And I don't get it. Like,
Is that what he said, or is that what you're saying?
exactly,
He's trying to-
exactly.
he's trying to start a fight.
I'm the
He's
avatar
Sami.
for Sami tonight, and only
Got
saying
it.
nice things about him.
Mm.
But seriously, there's a lot of tough truths, right, that he's covering, and honestly, he got me to think more deeply about things. So I appreciate that, especially. Yeah. So, I mean, if you guys want to go around the room and say something nice about him, I might appreciate that.
I started off with nice. It's like, and I don't think I was mean at all.
You were mean.
I was
can
critical.
verify.
No, baloney. I was mean about Dip Catcher and Golkey, maybe, but no, I don't even think I was mean about those guys. I think I was just giving accurate interpretations of what I've seen of his shtick. And it's like, I like Sami. I find him very entertaining. Probably, Maddie, to be honest, I probably watch Sami videos more than any other creator because he has these short little videos that are out all the time. He's always super funny, and it's entertainment. It's infotainment, as it's been called before. So I enjoy Sami quite a lot, actually. So whatever. Take that.
Brisology, your turn.
I liked Sami. I thought his videos were entertaining for a while. You know, and then it became a fudster. He became a little jerk. And so yeah, of all the flavors, I did choose salty.
Well, that's no
Because
surprise.
he's
But it has nothing to do with
fucking
Sami in this
invested.
case.
No, trust me, it's all Sami. And I get it. I get it, Sami. I'm the guy that said stop buying EHEX. And that really, and then EHEX tanked. You know, because then Richard came out and supported my position, and that tanked EHEX. Supposedly, you know, the only people that could sell it were the people that are holding it liquid. So
you're to blame, Chris? So you're the blame? Wait, you're to blame?
No, all my EX is actually staked right now. So
Brisology is the market, and he decided he was right.
He was more.
So
The
you know,
market.
I get it. You know, maybe I was kind of fudding your bags, but Somi, you should have fucking saw the writing on the wall. We migrated to the.
Oh,
That's enough gloating.
Okay,
All right.
all right.
This was
So-
the task was say something nice,
Yeah. So I liked him before he started.
or don't say
fudding
anything at all.
all my bags.
How about that?
You're just
Can I
saying
add
the
that?
same thing. Find something
So-
nice. Can you find something nice to say about Sami?
I think he pays a lot of money for his haircuts.
what?
Brisology is just a troll. He does not.
Okay.
The views of this media corporation are not represented by Brisology. It's exactly the opposite of what he says.
All
Yeah,
my
well-
views and opinions are of mine.
Wait,
and
this is a
mine
corporation?
only.
I'm not getting paid to be here. What the hell?
Yeah.
I like what this guy just said. Let me see. Click. Boom. Brisalt.
You're salty.
That's right.
Okay.
That's
We've-
good.
We've
That's
discovered the
okay.
main ingredient.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to- But you know, it's whatever, you know. Hey,
All right,
anyone
next,
that wants
Crispy.
to buy EX,
Yeah.
it's great. You know, you know, go ahead, no worries. You guys want to buy?
He called.
But like,
Look,
go ahead.
Sami called everybody else scrumptious candies and fruits and stuff, and we're salty ice cream. Okay, so let's just take the win and move on.
Ice cream. It's still ice cream.
Salted caramel is actually one of my favorite.
Oh boy!
Ice cream. But, all right, sorry, Crispy. Or does Crispy have to do it, or did
I could do it?
He wasn't part of the problem, but yeah,
Oh,
let's add more nice things after Brisology just screwed up.
I could be part of the solution. I could be. So Sami's my friend. He's my friend. I like him better than pickled pig's feet. I like him better than fried pork rinds. I'm gonna go with my own branding, right?
Yeah, there you go.
One of my acquaintances loves the hillbilly chic. So yeah, yeah. So I like him better than all those things. I think this, right? So watch a lot of Sami. When I get a chance, I send him information on the side, things that I'm looking at. Sometimes he talks about stuff. I don't agree with him on everything, right? And one of the things, and it's okay. I mean, it's just, I'm doing something different. He, in my opinion, right, is looking cycle to cycle, and I'm looking at multi-cycle. And I might be wrong, and he might be right. Don't know. We'll see what happens. But what I really do appreciate is this. I have this kind of rule that I picked up along the way, is that when I hear something from somebody, and my instant reaction is, that's bullshit. No. Then I kind of like stop myself when I have that reaction, and I say, why not? Right? Why not? And I got a lot of why nots, you know, listening to Sami, and I think for me, it expands my understanding what the hell's going on, because he may not be right. He might be right. You know, a lot of people, he helped publicize the left translated cycle discussion. The same with DIY. That isn't something new. We've been talking, you know, that's been a topic of conversation for 3 or 4 years. People need to understand these types of things so that, because we can't predict them exactly, we can only experience them. And when you experience them, you got to know that you got to change some things about how you're going to react to it all. It's like, I can't tell you what the number will be at the top, and I can't tell you the day, but when we get there, I'll probably be able to tell you. But by then, it might already be too late, right? It did get the action, right? So because that's what I mean. All of us, we're all lining up, waiting to jump off the cliff at the same time, right? But anyways, my point is with Sami, lots of great stuff like that that I've seen come out. And again, I got to tell you guys, I don't agree with him on everything that he has to say. You know, I'm a very staunch Hex supporter and staker. I mean, I don't agree with that. You know, that his viewpoint is that you know, it's a waste of time and money. You know, I'm paraphrasing my understanding, right? But I think he probably say it is no. The opportunity is, you have a lot better opportunity in this cycle to score many more X's by staying liquid and getting out at the top. Anyways, that's what I would say. So I appreciate what he does add to the community. I've never seen him really come out and be like, Briz is a salty jerk, don't go talk to that guy. He's usually talking about generalities. And yeah, he does have lots of different viewpoints too.
Yeah. He doesn't, like, what I noticed is, even when I had something critical to say about him, he didn't come back and attack me, which was like, I was impressed by that. The other impressive thing that I saw, people are commenting that he like doesn't do live streams. I heard him on a live Twitter Spaces that I jumped on, and he is even better live than he is pre-recorded. So watch out for when he starts live streaming, because he's going to take the world by storm. So, you know, I think at the end of the day, like, people who are more experienced in crypto, you know, we're all looking at each other like, who's going to flinch first, you know? Because like, if everybody's following the same person who is saying, you know, for months and months, for years even, like, we're waiting for the top and then we're all going to sell, you know, yeah. Are we all jumping off the cliff at the same time? That could backfire, but of course, you know, it's a market, so it'll play out how it plays out every time.
Well, yeah, and and we can never know if things will be different until after it's happened, right? Meaning, I don't know if things will be different, but in general, right? Toby explained earlier what we might see after the halving, right? There will be people when that happens who think it's the end. They're out. And then there's going to be a group of people who think it's not the end and are going to stay in. And the trick is, how do you determine that reasonably? Is that really a top or not? And there's things you can do. You can look at it, certain indicators, and do certain analyses to figure out, did we really hit a blow off top? What's happening in the market, and a lot of things we talk about in these other groups and stuff. But anyways, I think that's going to be really key, because we're all brainiacs afterwards, man. There was nobody who, there were very few people in January 22 telling me this is the bear, we're going down. The only person who really said that was Richard, right? Insinuated that. And everybody else that I knew, maybe there were some people, I wasn't listening to them, right? Well, running around, this time is different. We're going to resurge, look for March. And then what came true was actually something I did hear Sami talk about, I think today, on one of his streams. Anyways, is that when you're in a, it might have actually been not Ivan that was talking about it, but when you're in a bear market, every time you have a dip, you don't buy dips because it keeps dipping. Right.
Yeah.
And so I watched everything dip from November to December to January to February to March to April until I figured out we were in the bear. So anyway,
Well,
just saying.
It sure didn't help that I scheduled the Hex conference, the big one in person in Las Vegas in 2022, in March, because it was after the top, wasn't it? So, so that's why I've kindly asked Legacy Finance to create a left translated cycle this time, so I don't have to change the dates, and we can time that better.
That's pretty awesome.
Thanks, finance bros.
I just want to mention, the one thing where the place where I'm coming from with this whole being on this show and being on Twitter and all of that is that we need to spread awareness and adoption of the Pulse chain. And quite frankly, we need to be positive about it. There are
you're saying this?
There are drawbacks, I guess.
Where's the salt, man? Come on.
Hold on.
No, are we witnessing something live right now?
What?
Are you transforming, Briz?
Yes. He's been saved.
G anymore? Have you seen the light?
No, I'm just saying, Sony's still a bitch for flooding everything. But
Brisology's saying everybody else be positive. He's gonna be.
Yeah, I'm the most positive motherfucker on this platform.
Yeah, I don't know what aspect of that is. I don't know what aspect of that is for entertainment or for awareness. Like I always take what Sami says, some of it with a little bit of grain of salt, but he quite often, starts out with elaborating, hey, listen, this is what I'm telling you people are thinking, or this is what I'm thinking about this. And I do think, even though I'm not the one walking around, with all the same types of concerns, I do think he's reflecting back some of what the community's thinking, because he's a lot of these chats. Yeah. He's seeing the same dribble I'm seeing.
He's watching this stream.
I mean, he might be watching this stream. Yeah. My salty friend.
He retweeted my
with us now.
Is he here? Isn't Sami always here?
He's omnipotent.
Right.
It's omnipotent. Hey, did you see that? You see that com pump this week?
I did.
What did you do?
I didn't do it, man. In fact, I was mad as hell because I was trying to accumulate a quad, 1,000 trillion of them, and somebody pumped the goddamn thing 160%.
Wow.
Somebody came in. Like, yeah, hats off to that, man. Woo.
Was that on the Ethereum side or the Pulse chain side?
No, Pulse chain side.
Pulse chain side. Gotcha. Yeah, because
so
there's no liquidity on the Ethereum side for that.
So will you be bestowed the title of Quadfather? Like, will you change your name?
I got a long way to go, man. I got a long way to go.
Okay.
But that narrative still runs pretty strong in that It is a reward token for staking Hex on Pulse Chain as well as Ethereum, and that it's a rebate of sorts, like a 10% rebate on Quattro Cincos.
I do have one question about COM that I don't know has ever been answered. Like, how do I judge how much COM I'll have in the future?
Oh, you go to the web. You can go to the website. It'll tell you what your payouts will be.
Is it okay? So I guess.
Yeah, the calculations are complicated. Easiest thing is to look at your miners and just look at the number it tells you.
And it's like outrageously more than is on the market now. But is it? I'm an outrageously long staker, so I don't know. Like if everybody has 10x their COM coming out in the future, then that would make it like extremely abundant. So I'm wondering like how you account for that, or kind of like think of it.
Well, remember you have your start bonuses that you get initially, right in the beginning when you do it. You could, right? And and so you have that ability to collect that up front. Otherwise, it's a very wide range. Like it's like 50 times more. I don't have the exact number. You have to ask Johnny Sachs, but I think it's like 50 times more COM for someone who's Quattro Cinco than it is for like for 180 day.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
you don't even get that for 180 for a 365 day miner. So only the longest, most committed hexagons get the most COM. And so there's a great opportunity with that. So yeah.
And maybe they won't need to sell the COM, or they'll be able to.
You might be in a whole. Who knows what things will look like when you get out there? But I mean, in the meantime, what is real right now for all the people who like, I don't believe that'll be worth anything. Well, you get COM today, and there are people looking obviously to accumulate it for some reason. You don't have to believe that it makes sense, right? This is a spot in time. If you're doing Quattro Cincos, you should at least go get your 10%. And buy some more Hex with it. Swap for more Hex. Buy what you love. Do what you want with it.
Hex, future us. We're talking about it.
There you go. Hex.
Didn't he dump all of his RH tokens?
But we're not.
So it's
really
like, why is he caring?
Because Future Us is a very good friend of mine, and
I'm just busting his balls. I like Future Us.
Are always coming up with good ideas.
Yep.
We're not talking about just random things. These are all things that help.
They're in the ether.
The RH ecosystem flourishing.
It is in the ether. It's we're doing our own Sami bit, I guess, where it's just not as funny. Where we're talking about what's in the ether, like what's going on in the community.
Aren't
what's
parasite coins. These are symbiotic coins.
Parasite coin.
I mean, yeah, and it goes back to like, well, there was only one, and now there's many.
Yep.
So
can I say,
I just thought of one.
Toby grows the thickest beard out of all of us, and I wish I could grow a beard like that.
Oh, getting all verklempt over here. Thank you, Briz. So kind. Funktastic. Thank you for prompting that. What was I going to say?
You look like you murder women in Northern California.
Yikes. Whoa. Oregon. It's in Oregon.
I don't want to be called in to testify. Please stop talking about this.
Yeah.
My serial killer vibe.
You know, AI can like translate these videos now, right? Like.
Oh, great.
going on the record here.
Uh-oh.
That's it. I see it coming. So. Yeah.
So what are you buying this week, guys? What are you buying?
Well, I was going to say T-shares because somebody's asking about T-shares in the chat.
Right.
I was just going to remind you that June 2039 T-shares are available. Get them while they're cheap. I think that when we get out to that period of time, T-shares will be likely $1 million a T-share. So that's one thing that I'm continuing to push. I think
T-shirts are like $400 right now.
$400. No, a little bit more than that, right? I think
I looked yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
But I looked on
I'll
Hex
take
Daily
the word.
Stats, and
Yep.
I heard that was out of date.
$388 according to what it says there right now.
All right.
Yeah, so pretty crazy. I mean, hey, listen, I'm doing the I'm continuing to monitor the contract, not that I have to, but for those people who are interested, every Friday we're monitoring it and talking about the T-shares and looking at it. You know what? Contract's still working, still does what it does, still goes up to the right in T-share rate. You know, so just simple math. If we get to a $5 hex in 15 years, which if hex survives, which I believe it will, but I mean, for those of you who are like, no, I don't know why you'd even be watching the show if you don't believe it'll be here, but there are a few people out there. So $5 is ridiculously low, and so at $5 in 15 years, $1 million T-shirts. And thing is that we, you know, we had a huge doubling, by the way, of T-shares on the
Is that
Ethereum
2000X? Yeah.
It's a little bit more than that, but yeah.
20,000?
I don't know. I had to do the math. You want to know? 1 million divided by 388. What is it? 1 million. I can't type fast enough. Divided by 388 is 2,577x the cost for T-shirt.
Yeah.
So I think that's a real possibility in the game, you know, for Hex. So that's pretty crazy. On the Ethereum side, we've seen a doubling of the number of T-shares in 2039. Go figure that. So
really,
people have really doubled down. Some people putting a lot of hex out, really long on EX. So there are some people who are believers for sure.
Wow.
For those who are non-believers and on the Pulse Chain side, well, if you are right, then my T-shares will pay me somewhere around 3,500 hex per day per T-share in 15 years, because we don't have the T-shares made yet that'll absorb that. So that you know, it's a theoretical number, right? We get up to 3,500 based on there only being 24,000 T-shares out there. So people who do believe and decide to get in early will have an advantage over people that might come later and buy their T-shares for a much higher rate into the future. So that's one thing that I've been looking at, Toby.
Interesting.
Getting more T-shares, you know.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm kind of like on the fence. I'm like, this is silly, guys. Why wouldn't you do some sort of like consolidated, you know, ladder, you know, that makes sense over 15 years? And I'm getting a lot of people say, oh, staking's dead. It's so, right, Briz? It's so last cycle. And so, so yeah, I mean, so the people who, so I'm on the fence, like, yeah, I keep telling people about it, but a lot of people aren't listening, right? So I guess I'll just have millions and millions and millions of hex.
Well, and something else to consider, I just thought of, is with Calm and with Hedron, if people feel like, you know, eHex is, you know, not dead necessarily, but, you know, has a lot of headwind against it. If you stake way out, then you got Calm and you got Hedron. And if everything raises in a bull market, then you've got opportunities in those tokens that you would get for free because of having those long stakes. And you don't know exactly what, I don't know exactly what Alex is doing yet with the Hedron protocol.
I know,
but yeah, because it's like, because I've got a bag of Liquidity Hex that I'm just sitting on. Like, my plan was basically to just wait and see what happens in the bull. Typically, I would either do a rolling. Typically, I would do a rolling stake with it, or I would stake it out at the end of my ladder. But this is the first time where I've just kind of paused and just have a fair amount of Liquidity Hex, because I just can't bring myself to sell it at these levels, even to rotate into Pulse Chain stuff. So I'm just kind of stuck. So
hell yeah, let's ride this baby straight into the ground.
So I want to be really careful about this subject, because I don't know the details of what Alex is putting out. Rumor wise, the discussion's been around, of course, you know, some sort of parity between hedrons and some sort of parity between ICOSAs, which would make it much more likely to also see a virtual bridge I've seen some people talking about this. If somebody has facts on it, send it to us because I'd love to know what the details are. But essentially, being that somebody with enough capital, like the SA, enough of units of a token, might be able to facilitate cross bridge functionality themselves without going through a quote unquote bridge. Different set of third party risks, of course, but I don't know if that's in the cards for that. But that's the theory, right? Is that you might be able to trade in your EHEX or your PHedron on one side and receive PHedron on the other, vice versa. I don't know. But those are
I
all
mean,
the
that's
dynamics.
already happening with Love Token.
Yeah, right. So
which is one of the reasons why I try to have honors on like once a month, is like they're always doing crazy shit, like getting listed on exchanges or having, you know, top 5 liquidity of all tokens. And yeah, the Love Bridge is like really interesting, where you can buy Love on Ethereum or BNB or Pulse Chain, and it's redeemable on the other chains 1 for 1.
I got a
So-
question for you guys. Centralized exchange listings, waste of time or the key to it all?
Let's get to that. I want to know if there was another point though about Hedron and what Alex is said to be developing.
I don't have anything else because I don't have any details.
So
I don't know.
I've heard it
Alex
misreported that Alex is working on a way to stake your hex from Ethereum on Pulse Chain, and I'm not aware that that's technically possible, and I think it just amounts to a rumor because he hasn't really said that.
Right.
Again, I'm going to give you conjecture. Of course,
Please.
you cannot stake EHEX on the hex contract on Pulse Chain because it's immutable, right?
Right.
We know that, but I can create a new contract that allows you to stake EHEX and give you something else, or
Right.
even hex if I wanted to, but I don't know that economically it makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I could see where you basically launch a brand new hex on the Pulse chain and then allow EHEX to be traded for a coupon of your new hex, and like that could be a thing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, but I guess people who are jumping the gun on that, you know, it's like it's all theoretical at this point.
Yeah.
It's
I
all
think
theoretical.
what was talked about on the side that might have some legs to it is the idea that you could stake, much like they stake Hedron and Icosa, you would be able to stake EHEX and receive some sort of reward of some type as part of that ecosystem, and then perhaps they would all provide the same reward. But again, until Alex really releases the details, you don't know what'll survive, right? If those are even real.
Correct.
I don't know.
Brisology, you have a great topic.
So the question is, centralized exchange listings, are they a waste of money or are they the key to adoption?
Those are the only choices, huh?
I choose both.
I think 160 grand is pretty cheap. You know
what
I mean?
now?
And it's like it's $160,000, right, to get that
No.
listing on
So-
MEXC.
I mean, what I read in the comments is that they wanted 120, and then a bunch of people were posting, oh, it only costs 60, but I guess 60 of it is in LP. So, yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
it's a hot debate.
I
We
you know
just
I
gave
have,
those motherfuckers $60,000 of our coins.
at the bottom.
But if it
of
go,
there.
but if it, so it's 30K of stables and 30K of pulse. And I think it allows certain mechanisms to come back online. So I haven't heard people say this recently, but remember back when Pulse Chain was listed on a centralized exchange and there were certain like bells and whistles that worked? Like you could take your Ethereum and just dump it into GoPulse, and then it would spit you out like a decent rate of pulse, and it was like anonymized and stuff. It was really cool. I think part of how they were doing that was through a centralized exchange mechanism. So I think that there are things that aren't even being advertised that are possible once you have a centralized exchange listing. But yeah, it goes against the ethos to like pay for stuff like that and to be asking the community for it. But at the same time, if it's people who sacrificed, if it's sacrifice projects that are chipping in, that's pretty cool of them, and individuals, that's pretty cool of them.
Fast Abdul, he says a CEX is actually something that adds huge utility. It is a way to move on and off the chain that is new people friendly. New people are good.
Fast Abdul is good.
He just wants to take bribes. He wants to give bribes to all the new people.
That's how you get listed. Yeah, so that adds up. And
I'm a little salty. I'm Brisology, where these guys are going to be making money off of all these new people. I'm talking about these guys being the CEX. They're going to make money with all this fees and stuff. And just in my opinion, I think they should buy the coins if they want to make money off of our backs from buying and selling it from them. But if you guys want to give them your money, hey, as long as they don't go bankrupt and sell it all and dump on our heads, because it seems to me like a centralized exchange, it seems like it would be a money printer, but apparently they're going bankrupt left and right. Apparently they don't make a lot of money.
Yeah, so it's a mixed bag, and I guess Richard weighed in with negativity towards the idea. But hey, this is a decentralized community, and I respect the people who are making shit happen. And people are allowed to disagree. It's healthy. It shows that we're a diverse group of people that has come together for certain values. If we don't share the other values outside of that, I think it's better than just fighting with ourselves to just find more people who are not part of the cult yet that want to agree with us.
Be part of it.
I guess
I disagree.
I guess it's one less step of having to go through the bridge if you can just buy the pulse chain. From if you can get onto an exchange and link your bank account to that centralized exchange, and you can get PLS and then go straight to your wallet. I think that does save a few steps of having to buy Ethereum and then bridging over. So yeah, I guess it's good. I probably won't be using many of these exchanges, but
well, you use centralized exchanges to get money in and out of crypto.
It's true.
Sorry, Crispy.
Coinbase.
Except for Coast. When it's up and running again. Hey, you analyze it a different way, right? Let's take the pay for it out for a moment. Would it be useful to me if Pulse was listed on Robinhood, Webull, Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, XC, whatever? Yeah, it would be useful to me. Would it make it easier for people? Mexi, right? So would it be easier for people to get in and out? Yes. Right. I mean, if they're coming in and out of fiat, right? That's a big problem as on ramping. I don't know. Well, I'm not donating any money to that effort. Right. Because I don't think that's where my economic energy should go to that. I can spend on some other stuff, but I wouldn't stand in the way of somebody else trying to do it. Right. If they want to do it. So, okay. Will it be successful? I don't know, because those are fair weather friends, all these companies and agencies. What I would rather happen is all these people, all these different groups, they decide to go acquire their own pulse and enlist it because it's beneficial for them to participate. That's what I would prefer, right? Like the Krakens and the Coinbases world, go buy Pulse and set up your exchange, right? and not take out the money away from our community to do that. That's what I would prefer. But I acknowledge, I think it could be really useful to us as well. And so, yeah, agree to disagree on this one, you know.
Yeah. What we really need is somebody out there who's friends with Brian Armstrong, the founder of Coinbase. If you could just like, I don't know, make sure he's in a good mood, you know, butter him up a little bit. I don't know, maybe take him out for his favorite meal and then pop the question about Pulse Chain. That'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah, I really liked Donovan Jolly's take on all of this. It's like he was pretty abrasive about it actually, and how it was kind of counter to our whole stance on DeFi, right? I mean, like the whole idea is supposed to be like, you know, trying to get more adoption for DeFi. So why are we? I mean, he didn't say this, but it's like, why are we kind of simping on, you know, centralized exchanges to, you know, to list us? So I don't know. I'm a little torn on the topic. I think would it get more eyeballs? Would it make things more easy for people? Is it a chart, you know, for people to look at? Sure, you know. So there's definitely some good things. So I think it's an ROI thing. So I think if it's only that much money and there's people willing to put in that to make it a thing, then I think it's definitely a better expenditure than NASCAR. You know, so take what you will.
You're asking, you know, why are we simping for the CEX? I just have an idea. This could be from the old mindset of pre-Hex days, pre-2020, when there were no DEXs, and the only way to get your coins to the masses were on centralized exchanges.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be a little bit of that residual idea that you need a CEX, when really you just need something to get your fiat money into the crypto world. And right now the CEX is the only thing we got. So
well, I think you're going to see. Yeah, we have an organization, the Xerox Coast, who is really making great headways in this. I know some of us are disappointed. The service went down a couple times because the banking partners keep getting pressured to drop and whatnot, but they're resurging with another setup here shortly, and hopefully that will be set up. Now, I don't know if they'll be successful or it will be one of their successors, but that's where things need to be headed. Is you know, I hate to steal Musk's line about, you know, a single place for all your transactions, financial stuff. But yeah, I mean, why should I be going through an exchange at all? I mean, it's outdated. I mean, I don't use a broker unless I want to anymore. I don't go to the record store. I mean, there's like that was a thing for all your kids, right? You had to go to a place and buy books.
I used to like going to the record store, but
yeah, it was a lot of fun. But that's besides the point. You know, the thing is
like USB sticks.
All those
things not a thing anymore.
Right? All those things are outdated, right? And right. The sexes are outdated, and they're going to fight tooth and nail, but they need to go away.
Not your keys, not your coins.
You know, all the sexes, they all developed their own decks. What do you think?
Yeah, that's where that would head, right? Maybe that would be.
Is it a non-binary sex?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they do that and they do it in a decentralized fashion, well, they probably wouldn't. But I guess by definition, it should be decentralized. But that would mean that people could vote to put their economic value in and provide liquidity. And in that way,
here's the thing. Sorry to break it to you. People don't want decentralization. And that pisses me off because I've been advocating for it for years.
Some people don't.
Right.
It's because it's not easy enough yet. So I am changing my opinion about Xerox Coast as well. I love them now. Thank you guys for actually doing something. And, you know, more power to everybody who's creating on and off ramps. Because I could have criticized you. Yeah.
Here's what needs to happen.
I'm a huge fan of Xerox Coast. You guys,
yes, I am too.
My heroes in this space.
Absolutely. I mean, they are an on ramp to Pulse Chain from fiat, and they've got they're actually. It sounds like they're putting together more robust banking partnerships to make this thing more solid going forward. So I commend those guys for the efforts that they put in and the huge amounts of due diligence and work and lawyers and accountants and money that they've had to do to make this thing a reality. And I think it's definitely worth supporting. And I'm going to say it again. I know it all started off as a joke. I think in your 48-hour live stream, Maddie, with Tangent, when I was talking about Robinhood and how Robinhood is, the whole idea about Robinhood is that he stole from the rich and gave to the poor. Well, the Robinhood app obviously is the antithesis of that. So I joke that we should have the Sheriff of Nottingham app, right? He was the bad guy in the Robinhood
Terrible
story.
branding.
So those who don't know. Terrible branding, but something to that effect, right? Where it's actually for the people and it's a DeFi app. I think Staker had a foothold in that space. They had limitations with Transact and Indigo or whatever. They had some different on ramps, but you were very limited. The fees were atrocious. You could only do like $500 at a time or something, if I recall correctly. It was a pain in the ass for accounting, for tax and stuff. But they had the right idea. Like you had an app, you could buy directly from the app, Hex, and stake it. So I think the same type of thing is necessary now. I think that there are people that are working on that. I heard Rom Override on Twitter saying that he was working on something like that. I reached out to OX Coast because I think that would be a great partnership if they know of anyone that's working on stuff like that. If we were in the bull, I would be looking at helping finance something like that myself. I'm not in a position to do that currently, but I think you made Marion. There you go. And I think that something like that is what's going to really help propel DeFi to the next level, not just Hex, but DeFi, because you have to make it user friendly for the masses. Now, by that point, will it be too late, as they say, because then you've got it so dumbed down that anybody and their brother can get in it. And then at that point, is DeFi shot at shot? Maybe, but we will have won because it'll be DeFi. People can hold their own coins. They're actually operating on decentralized exchanges. They have the ease of using it on an app. It seems to me like in this day and age that should be possible. I don't know the expense involved. I don't know the developers that would need to be engaged to do something like that. But if we had that, look at what happened with Staker. Staker was a huge element in the onboarding of people to Hex and learning about staking ladders, the whole ranking system that we still talk about today with sharks and whales and squids and all that. That's carried through to all the other stuff. They were a pioneer, and I commend Steph for that. Sorry if I ever ruffled your feathers, Steph, if you happen to hear any of this, because he blocked me on Twitter. But it's like I was just being critical of what was going on. I wasn't rude about it, but he got butthurt, I guess, and blocked me. But which was funny because he was still messaging me on Telegram. But that's.
Well, I see what Tobiwan's doing now. I finally figured it out.
What's that?
You are getting rid of everybody who's already in Hex and bringing in new people, your own people. Yeah. You're like monopolizing.
Yes.
You're like one of the strongest onboarders and like also get the most people blocked by OGs.
Right. Well, hey, you know what? If OGs are that sensitive and they're doing things that aren't true to the Sci Vibe philosophy and aren't true, tried and true hexicans, then fuck them. So, but I mean, to my point about the app, I think that we need something that simple. If there is something that simple that came down the pipeline, it would be a game changer.
And we need more of them
with low fees. Yeah,
it doesn't have to be one supply.
Well, an OX Coast could be that could be the on ramp. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there wouldn't be limitations, and it would be so much easier if they could coordinate with somebody to make that kind of app a reality.
Well, there's a lot that went into that. I won't try to recreate all that. You can go over to their website and see what's up and ask them questions right on the website. They have a help desk, a real help desk, not a fake help desk. Right. But the very simple thing for anybody listening doesn't know. When I tested the 0x Coast, I sent ACH to a digital account that I had set up with the banking partner that they had. That meant dollars in. Once I had the dollars in there, I went to my wallet and I connected my wallet to that digital account, and I said, I want these tokens, right? CST tokens, which is the Coast stablecoin. And so I minted from USD to stable, and then I traded like normal, do whatever I want to do with it. And then when I went back the other way, I burned my stable, and it put USD in my account, and then I sent it to my bank. That was it. I mean, it's very simple, right? Are there fees involved? Sure. We're not getting into the details. Are there hairs on all that? Probably. But the point is I was able to do that. I didn't have to go to Coinbase and do the whole Coinbase rigmarole. I didn't have to go to Kraken. I didn't have to go to some other thing. I just simply moved much more nimbly in and out of the system.
That's cool.
And that's what the future should look like.
That's awesome. Respect. And shout out to the super chats here. Dolomite Hex, thank you for the 5555 super chat. Spirits Finance, I use to pay bills, off ramp, and a debit card. They may support Pulse Chain in the near future. Right on. The more,
Finance.
the better. And if you have experience with them being an OG Hexagon yourself, then that sounds like good experience.
Right on.
And
Check
then
that out.
Future Us also did a $20 New Zealand super chat about telling RH to donate to his fictional foundation. Right on. Yeah. No expectations. That's a good one. So yeah, having more ways to onboard. I think onboarding sucks right now. It super sucks. And it makes me wonder, why don't we just have like whales bridging over wrapped Pulse into Ethereum to the point where I can just shill Pulse on Ethereum? Like the GWAI can still be pretty low. Wouldn't it be cheaper for somebody buying 5,000 or 20,000 or $20 million worth of Pulse? You know, what's wrong with them buying those larger amounts on Ethereum itself? Anybody? Bueller?
I don't know why anyone would bridge over Pulse onto Ethereum.
Because that's where all the money is, man.
Man, you know that all the actions on the Pulse chain.
No, it's not. It's hard to get on there.
Move.
Do you know how easy it would be if we could just?
It's the same exact number of steps.
What? No, it's not.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can own the Pulse on Ethereum chain, but I mean, what are you going to do with it? You're just going to look at it, or you're going to use it as digital oil, like it's meant to be used. It's meant to be used as gas coin.
I am here to make money and be right.
Flipping it and just simply selling it and providing liquidity over there. You know, more to you, more power to you, but I don't know. I just don't understand why anyone would do it. Just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me.
Futurist agrees with me, so that's all that matters.
Well, Futurist sold all his coins. So you got to get bullish, Futurist. I said this before. I'll say it again. The bears sound smart, but the bulls get rich. So
before this turns into a mudslinging contest,
be bullish.
Toby can't hear us. Okay. If all the action was on, here we go. There's a battle royale between Brisology live, Futurist commenting.
I'm not saying
LOL. If all the action was on Pulse Chain, we wouldn't be having this discussion. Bears sleep through the winter, Briss.
Bears sleep through winter. Okay.
Bulls are full of bull.
What I meant was the party is on the Pulse chain. The money might not quite be there just yet, but that's where the party's at, and the money will come soon enough. So, it's just really, truly, you just got to wait until the raging bull market. I know we've kind of been in a bullish market for about a year. The numbers are going up, but, it still doesn't feel like a raging bull market. I'm talking about when you're feeling like euphoric day after day. That's when you know it's a bull market. This right now, we're just like a base camp, ready to climb up that mountain. So You know, this is where the party gets started. And so the money is going to be treated best on the pulse chain, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people are going to figure that out in the bull market.
Mm.
So, you know, like I said, it's the bull market. It's the tide that lifts all boats. The boats are all strung together via liquidity bonding, and you just gotta have conviction in your thing, or have it liquidity bonded to other things. But then you got to worry about how much exit liquidity the thing that you're in actually has. You know, if your thing only has $20,000 of exit liquidity, you know, you can't all get out. But $55 million of exit liquidity. Looks like there's a little bit of pie for all of us to eat.
There you go. You heard it here first.
So, you know, I don't know how many more ways I can say it. We all just got to be patient. Y'all got to just dollar cost average in, you know, and then we all just have to, you know, get 10 more people to join and throw in some money, I guess. And Metcalf's law, everything will get dragged up as the market gets bigger. So,
Echo.
echo.
Better now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sweet.
Sorry, guys. Something was weird. I couldn't hear you guys at all. I'm like, wait, what? Computers, they're great when they work. So what did I miss?
Oh, just giving a little pep talk.
Hey, that's good. We could
You
use
know,
that.
Just
He was living up to his
wonder-
name.
Yeah. You know, I just wanted to
Brisology.
point this out that I am not a dev or a technical person. You know, I like to think I'm a confidence streamer. So, in short, I'm kind of a con man. I'm just here to help give you guys confidence. So
Right.
I am Pulse Chain's #1 con man. If you guys will allow me to be that.
Yeah, it's like people need to find their own confidence. You know what I mean? It's like if we can help with that, okay, great. But ultimately, it's like, you know, it's your decision. It's like, you know, infamously, Future RS told us on stream last week that he was out of all RH tokens, you know, because he was done, right, with it. And that happens with people. You know, they've had enough of the bear market, or you know, whatever the reasons are. You know, I've heard other stories this week from people that had real life tragedies that they had to contend with and were forced to sell in the bear market and do some EESing. And it was a terrible situation. But, you know, so everyone's got their reasons for staying and everyone's got their reasons for going. You know, I'm locked and loaded. My bags are packed. You know, it's like I've still got a little skosh of dry powder left somehow. And, you know, looking for opportunities to pick and choose which RH token I want to invest in. But I think it's going to be really, really, really rewarding to look back a year from now and think of like who was here, you know, who was here in the depths of the bear, who was here swimming in the blood with us, you know, during these darker times, and still trying to keep it positive, trying to keep it productive, talk about things that people can be doing to maximize their gains, whether it's yield farming, like, you know, the Ink Theory gang is telling you tonight, or you know, other opportunities that are present right now. You know, hex staking, where, you know, you're basically DCAing in without adding additional fiat because you're earning more hex every day, trustless yield. There's lots of opportunities. Yep. Lots of opportunities in this space and in this ecosystem. Lots of great creators, new ones popping up all the time. Pulse Launch came out this week finally. Donovan Jolly was on with us a few weeks back. Really great YouTube creator and influencer. Really like that kid. Very smart. And they had a little hiccup on their launch, but they made it right. They got their tokens distributed to everyone. be interesting to see what they do as far as real Pulse chain adoption, because it's not Solana Launchpad, it's not Launchpad, it's Pulse Launchpad. So they're going to be doing some interesting things coming up. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
Toby, did you hear about the Gophers launch not being very smooth?
Yeah, I was going to mention that earlier when I was trying to give my critique of Dipcatcher and Gold Keys ecosystem. Did hear about that. So they're struggling, they're having some issues, but it's remarkable that any of this stuff works, right? It's like, crypto's hard. People that are a little overconfident can paint themselves into a corner and end up having to, answer a lot of tough questions. So it's that's one of the things I love about Hex in particular, is that it's immutable code. It's operated flawlessly for going on 5 years. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. No admin keys, trustless yield, all the stuff, right? So, but yeah, it's like I think it's going to be interesting to see how things played out. And I thought of a great meme, Briz, that you can help me create. We can do zombie gophers. Think about it. That's a free one.
All right,
occasionally I'll sprinkle some great ideas up there.
No thanks.
Zombie gophers, and it's like, instead of brains, they want to eat your Hex bag. Sorry. Yep. I digress. And that's dead air.
The first silence we've had in 15 episodes.
Do that. I do that occasionally. I believe it or not, it's like, I actually, in real life, I make people laugh. It's like, if anyone's met me in real life, I can get people laughing. This crowd, these three guys, this is a challenge for anybody.
That was really funny.
Oh, Crispy, you son of a bitch.
I do think it's funny. I laughed when you said zombie gophers.
Zombie gophers, right? It's a great idea. It's like my rug token idea. I still think that's a good one, man. You got the meme is like a guy with a bad toupee. That's a rug, right? It's like, whatever. Maybe I'll do it on Pulse Launchpad.
Maybe
I'll do it. Maybe I'll create rug.
Hey, so last week I had I went to a meetup, and I ended up meeting
some of the bots.
Meeting with a guy. It was actually this is a pretty cool story if you think of it this way. I ended up meeting with a guy who's part of the whole HOA group of people, and with the dev from Mintra, and with one of the founding members of a 404, the 404 monster NFTs. And because I don't know much about NFTs other than pictures and send them back and forth, right? What an education I got. And then I've been talking with these guys from this particular project, just trying to understand their perspective, and and what they're doing, right? Because other than one day I didn't know 404s existed, then the next day 404s existed, and people were going nuts for them. I had no idea what the hell was going on. Right? Maybe everybody else knew. I didn't know. And so I'm like, so what is this thing? And at the surface, I go, well, those 404s, man, they bring both things together. You can have NFTs with pictures and send them back and forth, and it's a token, right? Okay, so surface level, I kind of get that. But there's a lot more detail in the background. Anyways, it was really cool, and I appreciate it. Shout out to those guys for kind of like bringing me up to speed, and to the extent that I know a little bit now. Probably dangerous, but just this whole thing. And my assumption was that people that are in the NFTs are probably just like me, and I was wrong, like way wrong, right? Like completely different market segment, knowledge of crypto, and methodology. Is there crossover? Sure. Probably all of us have some NFTs of some type, right? But like it's like a totally different game, totally different methodology. I'm not saying go out and buy NFTs instead of Hex. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I learned a whole bunch of new stuff about technology, and I'm really curious about this because I'm looking to identify and hopefully get exposure to something that's going to jump the shark, right? That thing early enough that's going to become the mainstream thing that starts showing up all over the world, and starts connecting IRL with crypto. And so anyways, that's part of my adventure, but it's really cool to meet those folks. So yeah, and to learn about that, and perhaps I'll have more for you on 404s in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool.
Those are all great like components of like learning new things in crypto and meeting up with people in real life and having a common thread of Hex and being able to talk about other stuff too. Respect. Did you guys have a good time hanging out?
Oh yeah,
always. Yeah, always. I mean, who wouldn't want to hang out with a guy with a glorious mustache like that?
Like Bruce?
I'm sorry, I missed something.
I said who would not want to hang out with a guy with such a glorious mustache? The chat's been funny. It's been a good one tonight. It's kind of a slow news week, really, isn't it? I mean, but overall, I think we covered some good stuff.
I took a little bit of more time off the cryptos than I normally do. I watched a couple movies, and I just tried to take a little bit of a break from the crypto markets.
How'd it go?
I watched Roadhouse. Worst movie ever.
Oh my God, the new one.
I liked it.
So
I thought
bad.
it was fun. It was so bad it was good. It was so bad it was good, in my opinion.
It was so terrible. I watched that from 1 a.m. till 3:30, and
that's about when I watched it.
It was terrible. I mean, hey, listen, I like some of the action and whatnot. The story actually made sense, sort of, but it wasn't
Right.
It wasn't a whole lot of character development.
No, very different from the original, but it was fun. I found it fun.
He's no Patrick Swayze, that's for sure.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. Maddie, any closing thoughts?
We're not there yet. We have 14 more minutes, man.
Toby's like, let's get out of here.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Toby, jeez, man.
Well, Brisology, how'd it go? You zoned out on crypto. You left us hanging and
came back
went and watched your movie.
Dick with butts. The hell?
The entire landscape changed after you watched one movie. You stepped away from crypto for 2 hours, and it's unrecognizable.
Yeah, I come back and it's a freaking wasteland.
What's Dick with us? What are you talking about?
I think is it butts with gophers coming out of them? Is that what it is? I don't know. It's something. It's a meme.
This will be the three month fad. I've already seen like cat with cat with cat, right?
Cat with hat.
Cat with hat. But then
with hat.
With cat and with hat.
I will say this: it almost feels like an organized attempt to fill the space with so much shit coins that it kind of just turns the Pulse chain into like the next like Binance thing where everyone just looks at it as rug pull city.
Yeah.
Now, someone pointed out that
this is
the
DeFi, man.
BWB coin dumped, and then someone moved all that money into HOA. So it looks like you guys kind of got scammed into promoting a different coin.
Well,
hey, people are allowed to do whatever they want with their money. Just stop scamming people.
Yeah. It's just it's grinding. It's grinding games, because it's like if you look at all that stuff, it's like pump and dumps, whatever you want to call it. It's like where they pull liquidity from one and they throw it into another one. So it's like, if you're in the know, then you jump from one to the next. But in the meantime, it's like the majority of people are just getting ground up in the gears of that stuff. And it's a waste of energy and time and money, in my opinion. It's like, can it be fun? Yeah. Some of the memes are funny. Is there some money to be made if you play them right? Possibly, but it's just kind of like trading. It's like the majority of people are going to lose. And there's
Crispy,
just so much more. There's so much more opportunity, and especially in the depths of the bear with all the RH tokens, it seems like there's a huge opportunity cost if you're spending too much time and energy and money on those things.
100%. Hey, you know, I was going to tell you about my token, my new token. So to that extent, so this is DeFi. Anybody can do whatever they want. You can add a bunch of tokens. Market will decide. gonna live that down forever. Anyways, the market will decide mostly, right? So the market includes everybody. So yeah, the market will decide what happens. So I because I'm playing with my little chat GPT, and then I'm listening to my Sami friend, and he's talking about how somebody should do an AI coin. So I asked Chat GPT, you know, what I should create. And Chat GPT, you know, they went through a very long list of questions for me about my background, my likes and dislikes. It suggested the hat coin, hat token,
Seriously?
hillbilly AI token. And because I told her I want to be AI, and you know, and so then gave me a
So
nice
that
write up.
hate.
Well, hat, HAT. Yeah, it
Oh.
could be. It could be hate. I mean, but I prefer to be more positive, Chris.
Yeah.
Not hate, but hat token. And so it gave me a whole rundown on how I could create it and how I should do my LP and how I can incentivize hex mining with it. I don't think I'm actually going to make it, but it was fun. It was a fun little thing to do, right? Be like, oh, so what do you think, Chat GPT? Well, you look like a hillbilly to me, so you should.
Yikes.
Yeah, you know, I'm a Connecticut hillbilly. We call those Yankees here, but anyways, there's probably a movie nobody here ever saw called Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
Oh yeah. Classic.
Yeah, well, of course you know.
Right.
The other 99% of the people.
No, I'm old. I'm old. Crispy.
Was that,
It's like I get
that
those
movie
references.
with Martin Short, the comedian?
Yes.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
where he got shrunk down really small and went inside a person's body.
No, wait,
That's
no,
it.
not
You
Martin
nailed it.
Short. I'm thinking of someone else.
Martin Landau. Yikes, we're reaching.
No name. I have no rage. I have no rage.
So what else is going on?
When RH Museum?
Yeah, right. I think that's on hold.
Oh wait, you guys didn't get the invite? It already opened.
Oh shit.
I was thinking of
Damn.
Martin Lawrence. That's what I was thinking.
Martin Lawrence, yeah.
Yeah, didn't he do a movie where he got sent back in time to King Arthur's court?
Oh, I think he did. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. I watched Blue Streak the other day for the first time in forever. That's a classic. Martin Short.
We have unknown amount of people watching us because now we get botted. So it says 1,060 people live.
Yeah, right on.
And it's not that many people.
It's probably
So-
250.
You don't know. It could be.
It's probably the same as it always is. It's probably 250. So shout
Why
out
don't
to
you-
the real ones.
Why don't you just take credit for it? You know, like the government takes credit for inflation.
Show
Come
your
on.
faces. You
That's a great
faceless
idea.
Bots.
Yeah.
Prove
I mean-
there's 1,000 people watching.
Now
Prove-
I'm getting bitter.
Prove
there-
1,000 people aren't watching. Chris, how
Yeah,
about
right.
Yeah,
Right.
Maddie.
that? Yeah.
Prove
Well,
1,000
here,
people
I've
aren't
got a
watching.
topic. So Hexologist got his Twitter hacked the other day because Cointelegraph reached out to him for an interview. He filled out a form. It said connect your Twitter. He connected it, and then they not only posted this. It was not Cointelegraph. It was scammers. They posted coins that were rug pulls on his account, and then they scheduled posts. So they, even when he got back control of his account, he still thought that they were in it. So Hexo did like what I consider to be a super honorable thing, and he like killed his own Twitter in order to stop people from getting scammed more, and then waited a day and then was able to reactivate it. But yeah, so like he posted a tutorial yesterday about how you can go into your Twitter account, and it takes 2 seconds. You just go in there and you disconnect all the things you're connected to.
I found, you know what? I went into that and I found my account was connected to 3 things that I wasn't aware of. So I actually disconnected 2 of them, and I just left the one. And the one was the one that I left was the Grok AI.
Okay, great.
I
Yeah,
thought that
just
was pretty
disconnect
cool.
everything. You don't need to be connected. There's a separate thing for connected things that are like taking control versus things that are just like logged in. And so I forgot whether I had done this before I went in and showed that I am not connected to anything. But yeah, everybody just do it so that you don't. How bad would it feel if people got scammed because somebody stole your account?
Yeah, I remember a lot of Hexicans voted on something a while back where they were voting for like
Oh,
Pulse
no.
Chain to be on something. And so you needed to connect your Twitter account to that. Now I believe that was actually a safe thing to connect to, but I think that was one of the things my account was still.
But they could get compromised, and then
Yeah.
Right.
it could be a network effect. So
Exactly.
Um,
So
It's just like your MetaMask wallet, man. Don't connect to random shit.
so you go to x.com/hexologist31 and look at the tutorial there. It took me 30 seconds
it's
to
pretty
see
easy.
where to go in the settings.
Like 4 clicks. It's inside
Yeah.
the security settings.
I literally just did it while we were talking.
Awesome.
It's super simple. I had nothing connected, thankfully.
Nice.
And somebody's asking me like why I'm allowed to troll RH, is because the last time he streamed live, he trolled me on 2 things. He said, "How's sudden wealth syndrome coaching going? Ha 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 ha." Okay. And that wasn't
No
even
way.
the bad part.
Oh no way.
Then
That's
he was
awesome.
like, "I heard both your arms are broken, dude. Can you still masturbate good? I don't know what you're working with." Live in front of
No
100,000 people, that ended up watching it between 2
Got 'em.
channels.
That's
So,
hilarious,
am
dude.
I allowed to say where's the RH museum? I think so.
Yeah,
But
that's fair. That's fucking hilarious. I had no idea. That made my night.
That is
Matty
funny.
You know what?
Power,
That's the one thing you gotta say. RH is funny as fuck. It's like he is a one funny dude. I'm telling you what, you gotta give it up for that.
Yeah, I get the feeling I'd have a good time talking with him. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if those days come back around. I really was bummed that I didn't get to go to the meetup in London, a year or 2 ago. That looked like a really good time. But maybe in the future, you never know.
Man, I got COVID when I was in Europe when he announced one of the meetups, and Funding Jim, I was with him and he went and I had to stay back.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
So close.
But yeah, it was the right thing to do to not get other people sick. So
yeah, that's true. Did you have any trouble getting back in the country after that?
I was worried about it, but actually, funny enough, I mean, I said I got COVID, but because at the time I thought I had it, but it turned out I tested negative. So that was at like the height of.
Good thing you wouldn't want to be retroactively prosecuted for entering the country.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't worry, I have the results. So.
I think it was just all whether or not you had been vaccinated, but whatever, that's a whole other thing.
It was a mess. But yeah, luckily I got better. So that's the best part.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that.
And you're actively masturbating again, so that's good.
Hey,
good job. This is a family
Both
show.
arms
Family
are working.
All right.
What have we done?
Tell people where to find you guys, I guess.
I'm on X, like not as much anymore. And I'm in the middle of a cleanse, so it's like whenever I'm in a cleanse, I'm like even saltier. So look out for me on X. I might throw some more hot takes than usual. And then here, by the grace of Matty ALLin, to be with these lovely 2-3 gentlemen on the Game Theory Gang. Definitely my favorite week of the night, or night of the week. Yeah.
Hey, my name changed.
Brisology.
Weird.
Wow.
It was AI.
That goes hand in hand with the masturbation jokes. Yeah.
Of all the flavors, I chose salty.
Oh,
Still ice cream. It's still ice cream. You know, you can search for me on Twitter, x.com,
Grinder.
Brisology. You're gonna see some awesome memes. You're gonna be told Ink
Yes,
is the number one meme coin on the Pulse chain.
P-Dye.
Finally, something we all agree on. Damn it!
Ink.
And
For the win.
come say hi, guys. Come
The
say
Ink
hi.
Lord has spoken.
Crispy.
Quad Father?
Just, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Gee.
sadly, no. Hey, come visit hexfire.io. The website's going good, going great. Get some great information out there. Correlation matrices are up. Some in-depth data on miners and staking. Come check it out. Hexfire.io or hexfire.io here on YouTube and Twitter.
And before these dogs steal the show, no, that's great. The dogs are highly rated. Yeah, I stream every Tuesday and Thursday, so check it out. Until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and get your ink.
Ink.
Ink it up. Ink it up.
Oh, it's so salty.